Her breath was warm on my ear. I could smell her sweet perfume mixed with rich coffee smell in her kitchen. "Do you like it wet or dry?" Elena whispered. Her voice was low and soft, making my whole body freeze right where I stood. My hand stopped halfway to the coffee cup she put in front of me. My heart started beating so fast and so hard I thought she might hear it. I turned to look at her face, trying to figure out what she really meant by those words. Elena stood so close to me. I could see the tiny gold spots in her brown eyes. I could count every single freckle on her nose. She was looking right back at me, waiting for my answer with a small smile on her lips. "I what?" My voice came out like a croak instead of real words. I felt my face get hot and red. My mouth felt dry. I could not think of anything smart to say back to her at all. She moved her head to one side. Her dark curls fell over her shoulder in a way that made me want to reach out and touch them. "Your coffee," she said, pointing to the glass coffee maker sitting on the counter between us. "I know you don't know about fancy coffee drinks, but I thought maybe you would want to try something new today." She stopped talking. Now she looked worried and shy in a way I had never seen her look before. My whole body felt relief and shame at the same time. Of course she meant coffee. Elena owned the best coffee shop in our whole town. She could talk about coffee beans the way other people talk about weather. But wait until you hear how we got to this moment. 3 weeks ago, I was having the worst morning of my life. My alarm did not go off. My shower had no hot water. I could not find my car keys anywhere in my messy room. I was running 15 minutes late for work. My boss had already sent me 2 angry texts. I needed coffee right now, or I was going to fall asleep at my desk. My head felt heavy and my eyes hurt. I was about to go to the big coffee shop down the street, but then I saw a new place I had never noticed before. It had a bright yellow sign that said Café Luna in pretty letters. There was a small paper sign in the window. Someone had written on it with a black pen, "New coffee from faraway places. Let me change your life." Most people would think that sounds silly, but something about it made me curious. I stood outside the door for a long moment. I could see people inside laughing and talking. The place looked warm and cozy. I put my hand on the door handle, but I did not push it open yet. What if the coffee was bad? What if it took too long? What if I got even more late for work? I almost turned around and walked away. But then something made me push the door open instead. A little bell made a nice sound when I walked in. The whole place smelled amazing, like fresh coffee and something sweet. There were small round tables with flowers on them. Soft music played from somewhere I could not see. Behind the counter stood the most beautiful woman I had ever seen in real life. She had long dark hair pulled back in a messy way. There was a small white spot of milk foam on her left cheek. When the bell rang, she looked up at me. We just stared at each other for what felt like a very long time. Her eyes were big and brown and kind. I forgot all about being late for work. "You look like you need saving," she said finally. Her voice was warm and had a little bit of an accent I could not place. She was smiling at me like we were old friends who had not seen each other in years. "From what?" I asked, even though I should have just ordered coffee and left right away. There was something about her smile that made me want to keep talking to her forever. "Bad coffee choices," she said. She started moving around behind the counter before I could say anything back. She pulled out a nice ceramic cup instead of a paper one like other coffee shops used. I laughed even though I was so late and so tired. "That sure of yourself, are you?" I asked her. I could not believe I was making jokes when I should have been rushing out the door. "About coffee?" "Always," she said. Her hands moved fast as she reached for different things I could not even name. "Do you trust me?" she asked, looking right into my eyes again. I should have said no. I should have asked for just regular coffee in a paper cup so I could run to work. I should have told her I did not have time for fancy drinks or games. But there was something about the way she asked, something about the way she was looking at me, like my answer really mattered to her. Something about how she made me feel calm even when everything else was going wrong. "Yes," I said, just like that. No thinking about it. No asking what she was going to make me. Just yes. Her whole face lit up when I said it. She smiled so big I could see her white teeth. "Good choice," she said, and started making something that looked like art. I watched her work. She moved like she was dancing. Every step looked perfect. The coffee maker made soft sounds. Steam rose up in pretty white clouds. She never looked away from what she was doing. When she handed me the cup, our fingers touched for just a second. The coffee was the best thing I had ever tasted in my whole life. It was rich and smooth, and had flavors I could not even name. Have you ever met someone who changed your whole routine? Let me know in the comments. Now I was back in Elena's kitchen, trying not to think about how close she was standing to me. She moved around me to reach for the glass coffee maker. Her arm touched mine as she did it, sending a little shock through my whole body. "So," she asked, picking up the coffee maker with both hands, "wet or dry coffee making? I promise it sounds harder than it really is. Both ways make good coffee, just different." Her voice was soft and patient, like she was talking to a small child. "I have no idea what either of those mean," I told her, feeling my face get red again. "Before I met you, I only knew two things about coffee: black coffee or coffee with cream. That was it." Elena laughed, and the sound made something warm spread through my chest. "Okay, time for a coffee lesson then." She moved to stand right beside me, so close her shoulder bumped into mine when she reached for things. "Wet coffee making means the coffee grounds get covered with lots of water," she said, using her hands to show me what she meant. "Like with this glass maker, or when you pour water over coffee slowly. The water and coffee get to know each other really well." Her hands moved in graceful ways as she showed me. She pushed the metal part down very slowly. "Dry coffee making is more like espresso. Quick process, not much water touching time. Both ways are good for different things." She stopped talking and looked up at me. "But I like the wet way for morning coffee, when you have time to really enjoy the whole process." There was something in the way she said it that made me think she meant more than just coffee. "I like the slow way too," I said, surprised that I was brave enough to say it out loud. My voice came out deeper than normal. I could feel my heart beating faster again. "Good," she said with a smile. She poured the hot coffee into 2 white cups. "Because I made French toast too, and that also needs you to take your time with it." She handed me one of the cups, and our fingers touched when I took it. The coffee was perfect. It tasted rich and complex in ways I was still learning about, but I could barely taste it because I was too busy watching Elena move around her small kitchen. The morning sun was coming through her windows and making her hair look like it had gold in it. She looked so natural in this space, like she belonged here completely, like maybe I could belong here too, if she wanted me to. The thought made my stomach flip in the best possible way. "Can I ask you something?" I said all of a sudden. The words came out before I could stop them. Elena stopped walking toward the stove where something smelled incredible. "Always," she said, turning to face me completely. Her eyes were bright and curious. She was holding a wooden spoon in one hand and had a small smile on her face. "Why did you ask me to come over this morning?" The question had been bothering me since yesterday when she said it. Her casual want to come over for breakfast had caught me so off guard I almost dropped my coffee cup. Elena put the spoon down on the counter. She moved closer to me, close enough that I had to look down a little to see her eyes. "Why do you think I asked you?" "I really don't know," I said, setting my coffee cup down too. I needed to have this talk without holding anything. "You're amazing. You own your own business. You speak different languages. You can make art out of milk foam." I made a gesture at myself with both hands. "And I'm just some guy who didn't even know there were different ways to make coffee 3 weeks ago. I still don't understand half the things you tell me about coffee beans." Elena's face got serious. She stepped even closer to me. "Can I tell you something?" she asked. Her voice was quiet and gentle. I nodded because I did not trust myself to speak without my voice shaking. "That first day you came into my shop, you looked completely worn out, like you were carrying heavy things and had not slept enough. But when I asked if you trusted me, you said yes right away." She reached up and almost touched my face but stopped her hand just before. "Do you know how special that is? Most people want to control every single detail of their coffee order. They want to know exactly what they're getting before they say yes to anything." The tension was killing me, and it's about to get even more intense. "Maybe you're just trusting," I said, but my voice came out weak and unsure. I could feel the space between us getting smaller. Her hand was still hanging in the air near my face, and I wanted her to close that gap. "Maybe you're brave," she said. Her voice changed completely. It got softer and more serious than I had ever heard it before. "Maybe you're the kind of person who's willing to try new things, even when they scare you a little." "It does scare me," I said before I could stop the words from coming out. "This whole thing scares me. You scare me. The way I can't stop thinking about our talk scares me." I took a deep breath and kept going. "The way you scrunch up your nose when you're trying to get the milk foam just right. The way you laugh at my bad jokes about coffee. I think about all of it all the time. I think about how you remember exactly how I like my coffee now. How you always save me the corner table by the window. How you look at me like I'm the only person in the whole shop, even when it's packed with people." Elena's eyes got wide. Her lips opened a little bit like she wanted to say something, but no words came out. I could see her breathing get faster. The morning light was still coming through the window, making everything feel warm and golden. I'm scared because I don't know what I'm doing. I kept talking, unable to stop now that I had started. I've never felt this way about anyone before. I don't know the rules or what comes next or if I'm reading this all wrong. Elena moved her hand closer to my face. This time she didn't stop. Her palm settled against my cheek, warm and soft. Her thumb moved across my skin in a way that made me close my eyes for just a second. "You're not reading it wrong," she whispered. Her voice was so quiet I had to lean closer to hear her. "I asked you over because I wanted to see what this felt like outside of my shop. I wanted to make you breakfast and watch you try to figure out my coffee maker. I wanted to talk to you without other customers waiting in line behind you." She stopped talking and bit her bottom lip. "And?" I asked, even though my heart was beating so loud I could barely hear my own voice. Her hand was still on my face, and I never wanted her to move it away. "And because I've been hoping you would kiss me for about 2 weeks now," she said. Her cheeks turned pink. "I thought maybe being somewhere private would give you the courage to finally do it." I stared down at her. My heart was doing crazy things inside my chest. "Elena," I started to say, but I didn't know what words should come after her name. "Too much?" she asked. She started to pull her hand away from my face. "Did I say too much? I know I can be too direct sometimes. My sister always tells me I scare guys away by being too honest." I caught her wrist gently before she could move her hand completely away. I kept her palm pressed against my cheek. "Perfect," I said. "You're perfect. You're exactly perfect." Elena's whole face lit up. Her smile was so big and real that it made her eyes crinkle at the corners. She looked happy and relieved at the same time, like she had been holding her breath for weeks. I leaned down toward her. She came up on her toes to meet me halfway. For just a moment, we stopped with our faces so close I could feel her breath on my lips. Neither of us moved for what felt like forever. Then finally, I kissed her. She tasted like coffee and vanilla and something sweet I couldn't name. When she made a soft sound against my mouth, her free hand grabbing onto my shirt, I thought maybe I understood what she meant about taking time with good things. Her lips were soft and warm. She kissed me back like she had been waiting for this moment, just as long as I had. When she pressed closer to me, I put my arms around her waist and pulled her against me. We broke apart after what could have been seconds or hours. Elena was breathing fast, her eyes bright and happy. Her hair was a little messy now, and her lips looked pink from kissing. "So," she said, her voice shaky in the best way, "what do you think about the wet method now?" She was smiling, that half-smile that had made me trip over my own feet that first day in her shop. I laughed and pulled her closer until her forehead touched mine. "I'm definitely a fan of the wet method," I said, "especially when there's no need to hurry. If you're loving this story, smash that like button because it gets even sweeter." "Good answer," Elena whispered and kissed me again. This time, the kiss was softer and slower. I could taste the coffee we had both been drinking. Her hands moved up to rest on my shoulders, and I felt like my whole world had just changed. When we stopped kissing the second time, Elena was smiling so big I thought her face might hurt. Her cheeks were pink, and her eyes were shiny. She looked like someone had just told her the best news in the whole world. "I can't believe this is real," she said, running her fingers through my hair. "I can't believe you're here in my kitchen and we're doing this." She laughed, but it was a happy sound, not a nervous one. I kept my arms around her waist because I didn't want to let her go. "I can't believe you wanted me to kiss you," I said. I kept thinking I was making up all the signs. I thought maybe I was just hoping too hard. "You were not making it up," Elena said. She reached up and touched my face again, like she needed to make sure I was really there. "I was trying so hard to give you hints. I thought maybe you just didn't like me that way." "Are you kidding me?" I said. "I've been crazy about you since that first day. I started coming to your coffee shop every single morning, just to see you, even on weekends when I didn't need to get coffee." Elena's eyes went wide. "Really? I thought you just really loved coffee." We both started laughing at the same time. Her laugh was the best sound I had ever heard in my life. The smell of French toast came floating over from the stove. It smelled like cinnamon and vanilla and butter. My stomach made a little growling sound, and Elena heard it because she started laughing even harder. "I should probably check on breakfast," she said. But she didn't move away from me at all. Her arms stayed around my neck. "I don't want it to get burnt and fill the kitchen with smoke." "Probably," I agreed, but I tightened my arms around her waist instead of letting her go. The French toast could wait a little longer. Everything could wait a little longer. Right now, I just wanted to hold her and look at her face. Neither of us moved toward the stove. We just stood there in her sunny kitchen, holding each other. The morning light was getting brighter now, making everything look warm and golden. I could hear cars driving by outside and people walking past on the sidewalk. But inside this small kitchen, it felt like we were the only two people in the whole world. Like nothing else mattered except Elena's arms around me, and the way she was looking at me like I was something wonderful. "You know what's funny?" Elena said, playing with the collar of my shirt. "I was so nervous about asking you over. I changed my outfit 3 times this morning. I practiced what I was going to say to you in the mirror." "You were nervous?" I asked. "You always seem so confident about everything, like you know exactly what you're doing all the time." Elena shook her head and laughed. "Only about coffee," she said. "About cute guys who come into my shop and make me forget how to make foam art? Not so much." Her cheeks got pink again when she called me cute. I leaned down and kissed her forehead, then her nose, then her lips again. Each kiss was soft and quick. "Well, I think you did perfectly," I said. "Best breakfast invitation ever." "We haven't even eaten the breakfast yet," Elena pointed out, but she was smiling. "What if the French toast is terrible? What if I'm a bad cook and this whole thing falls apart?" "Then we'll order pizza and eat it in your kitchen," I said, "and it will still be the best morning I've ever had." Elena's smile got even bigger. She stood up on her toes and kissed me one more time. Outside, the city was waking up all around us. People were starting their Sunday routines, going to get their own coffee, meeting their own friends. But inside this warm kitchen, with Elena in my arms, and the taste of perfect coffee still on my lips, everything else could wait. Right now, there was just this. Drop a love sign in the comments if you believe in coffee shop love stories. And make sure to subscribe, because I've got more heart-melting romance stories coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next.